John, what happened in this game? Why did you like it?
It was a tactical battle, wasn't it? It was, I think, maybe the first big tactical battle we've had this season. Two smart managers. We know that Antonio Conte tends to play in a certain way. Thomas Tuchel maybe a little bit more flexible, able to change things up. The first half was all about Chelsea just nullifying Spurs' build-up for me. And yeah, Chelsea stopped Spurs from being able to do anything. They got that famous front three Spurs. Harry Kane, Son and Kulusevski is going to terrify many teams this season, but not Chelsea. So I thought this was a really good game, and it hung for me on the off-ball stuff. So obviously in the second half, Conte changed things up, and then suddenly Chelsea's off-ball structure is just not as functional as it was. Spurs were also a little bit more open at the back, and that's when we got the second goal from Chelsea, which made things a little bit more interesting. And then Spurs managed to get a goal at the end. But for me, it was a tale of two managers who know what they're doing tactical things and causing good fun for everyone.
Causing good fun, yes. Seb, you are a Tottenham fan. What did you think? Do you think Tottenham were good in this game? What do you think of it as that perspective?
No. I think John touched on the fact that Spurs didn't get really enough out of their attacking playmakers. Every time the Son touched the ball, there was something very strange going on with his first touch on Sunday. It was like he's trying to, I don't know.
Is it not because he had a player on him every time he got the ball as his first touch?
I mean, there was that because I think especially the first half wore on, you saw him going deeper and deeper and deeper to try and get his touches in space. His first touch and what he does with it, and how he turns opponents is usually a little bit swifter and slicker than it was. I think the kind of thing that alarmed me was just how easy Chelsea's defensive exits were. Like obviously, they're playing out with generally 5 players in deep positions, plus the goalkeeper. And Spurs' lack of pressure on those phases was really discouraging because it looked so easy compared to the other side of the ball where everything was frantic and the Spurs' ability to play the ball through the middle of the pitch was just non-existent, which is concerning. If you think about the passing ability, you've got like Romero and Dyer and Davis, all pretty good distributors. Bentancur is usually an excellent distributor. You've got Kane that can drop in and pivot. Sessegnon's a good footballer. So is Royale in a slightly different way. But and yet there was no continuity to any of their build-up, which is it made it feel, especially in that first half now, like every other Tottenham performance I've ever seen at Stamford Bridge, which is alarming.
I thought Spurs were all right. I think I'm the only person that thinks this. I think you're playing away at Stamford Bridge, tough game. You play off the ball and you try and counter them. You're playing away. It's a difficult game, one of the biggest in the season. You look at your fixture list, you'd go, this is one that we need a minimum of a point at. That's a point has to be what we kind of can accept as that would be all right. If you can get a win, it's going to probably be, I would guess, especially the way Conte plays on the break. I think we were talking about this earlier, John. What were the switches so both managers made tactical switches, right? We did a video on this on Tifo IRL, which hopefully you've seen by now. If not, you should go and watch it because I was quite pleased with what I did. But can you tell me what you think? Because you know also.
Yeah, look, I think Tuchel was really good out of possession, but I don't think Chelsea...
What do you mean specifically? Like, what was he doing?
So essentially they played a man-marking system at the back, and then they had 2 forwards who were sort of a little bit more zone or a little bit more mid-blocky. And what they were doing is they were forming situations where they weren't allowing the Spurs players in the Chelsea half to have any space and time to pick up the ball and turn. And Conte's whole system is about getting the ball to that front 3. So Tuchel's system was really good at stopping any Spurs really from generating much at all in that half. And if you look at the XG plots on this, you can see the first half, like neither team creates more than 0.5 XG. I think all the way to about the 60th minute. I think Chelsea were really good out of possession. In possession, I still struggled to see the really good stuff that Tuchel does. So I thought it was an interesting game because he obviously nullified what it was that Spurs were doing, but I didn't think they generated enough either. And then obviously they score a goal from a corner, and so that's it's sort of like an outlier, right? You're not generating through your open play approach. And then Spurs are in a situation now where they've got to come back into the game, right? And so Conte realises we're not going to score if we carry on playing the structure that we're playing, because the 3-4-3 structure, because Tuchel is just completely closing it down. So he changes it to more of a 4-4-2. And after that point, I thought Spurs had a lot more joy in the game, but then they were a lot more defensively open, right? So then Spurs get this goal out of nowhere through Højbjerg, maybe a little bit lucky, but then they give away a really soft goal. And you showed that really well in your video, how Spurs were all the way across, and the ball just ends up at the feet of Reece James without any pressure, right? And they score that goal. After that, Conte then switches his system back to the 3-4-3, and it becomes a lot more of a tight affair again because Chelsea's off-ball structure is working a lot better against the 3-4-3. And so for me, it was just that switch. Spurs did that switch. Obviously, they then got the equaliser, and I think at that point, Conte should just have gone back to the 3-4-3 and been like, okay, we're not going to generate much, but we're also pretty tight defensively. Instead, they took a little bit of time to actually change that back so that Chelsea got the goal, and then I guess Spurs were a little bit lucky to just get the corner right at the end for various reasons. But that was, for me, how the game sort of unfolded. It was that tactical switch by Conte and then back, which made the big difference.